If you treat your dog like a baby, you might be confusing them without realizing it, and depending on how you do it, it can actually change their behavior. Most owners do this out of love, but here's the part many people misunderstand. What feels natural to you can feel unclear to your dog. Here's the first thing to understand. Dogs don't think like humans. Their behavior is shaped by instinct, structure, and clear patterns, not emotion in the same way we experience it. So when we start replacing those patterns with human habits, something shifts. But here's where it gets interesting. A lot of everyday things people do without noticing remove clarity for their dog. You may notice this when you let your dog on the couch sometimes, but not always. Talk to them expecting they understand everything you're saying. Comfort them when they're anxious. Instead of guiding them, change rules depending on your mood. To us, that feels normal, but to your dog, it creates uncertainty. Dogs rely on consistency, on knowing what leads to what. So when those patterns keep changing, they don't feel more loved. They feel less sure. And this is the part most people miss. Sometimes, what looks like affection can actually create anxiety. You may notice your dog becoming more clingy, following you everywhere, reacting more when you leave, getting overly excited, or unable to relax. At first, it feels like attachment, like they just love being around you. But your dog isn't doing this randomly. In many cases, they're staying close because they don't fully understand what happens when you're not there. But here's where it becomes more serious. When dogs don't understand what's expected, they don't truly relax. They stay mentally alert, even in environments that are safe. And over time, that changes their behavior. You may notice things like ignoring commands, increased barking, difficulty settling down, overreacting to small situations. Not because your dog is being difficult, but because they're trying to navigate a world that no longer feels predictable. But your dog isn't asking to be treated like a human. They're asking for something much simpler, clarity. But here's where it gets interesting again. This doesn't mean you shouldn't be affectionate. Dogs absolutely form emotional bonds. They recognize your presence, your tone, your energy. But they understand love differently. You may notice your dog feels calmer after a structured walk, not just random play, or more relaxed when daily routines stay consistent, instead of constantly changing, or more secure when boundaries are clear, instead of flexible. And this is where everything starts to shift. What looks like love through a human lens isn't always what your dog needs to feel safe. What looks like freedom can feel like uncertainty, and what feels like closeness can sometimes create dependency. And the strange part is, many dogs look happy on the outside, but inside, they're just trying to figure things out. So the goal isn't to stop loving your dog. It's to express that love in a way they actually understand. Your dog doesn't need you to be another dog, and they don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be consistent, to create an environment where they don't have to guess what comes next, because that's where real comfort comes from. Not just attention, but stability. And over time, that changes everything. A dog that understands their environment behaves differently. They're calmer, more balanced, more secure, not because they're controlled, but because they feel safe. So what looks like treating your dog like a baby is actually something deeper. It's replacing their natural way of understanding the world with something that doesn't fully translate. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So the next time you catch yourself reacting emotionally or expecting your dog to think like you, pause for a second. Ask yourself, does this make sense from my dog's perspective? Because that small shift is where everything starts to change. Be honest. Do you do any of this with your dog? What's one thing you do that might be more human than dog? I'd really like to know. Share it in the comments. And thank you for staying with me until the end. I'll see you in the next video.